This is the most haunted place in America. At least that's what they say. It's somewhere along historic Route 66, but where exactly? And how true is this claim? Well, let's find out. But first, have you ever been to a motel while traveling? I have. In fact, I've stayed at quite a few of them, usually because they're cheaper than hotels and sometimes because they have unique themes. For example, the Madonna Inn in San Luis Obispo, California. It has over 100 rooms with different themes. But even though there are some nicer motels, I'd say that most of them have one thing in common: a certain level of sketchiness. It seems like every motel has a sign warning you not to use the ice machine after midnight, or an old TV with a limited number of channels, or a vending machine filled with questionable snacks. And then there are the reviews online. Every so often you'll see a review mentioning something strange happening in the middle of the night, or a recent story about a body being found in one of the rooms. Is there really such a thing as a haunted motel? Or are these just stories to attract more customers? Well, if you want to find out, you can always check out one of the most infamous supposedly haunted motels in the United States. It's the name which is synonymous with haunted motels, and it all starts with the name. The name was taken from the 1980 horror film The Shining, which was based on the Stephen King novel of the same name. The movie is the story of Jack Torrance, who becomes the winter caretaker of the isolated Overlook Hotel in the Colorado Rockies with his wife Wendy and their young son Danny, who has a special gift known as The Shining, which allows him to see the hotel's violent and tragic past. Of course, Jack eventually snaps and tries to murder his family. And although he is ultimately killed, the hotel continues to be a dangerous place. But since the movie doesn't mention a motel, how did the name become associated with one? Well, the owner of a small motel on Route 66 decided to capitalize on the popularity of the movie by changing the name of his motel to the name. Like most motels, it was a pretty average place. It was built in 1957 and had your standard amenities for a roadside inn. That is until the late 70s when the owner added a restaurant and bar to the property. He also opened up a gift shop full of taxidermied animals. And according to reports, he didn't get them from the zoo, which may explain why some of the animals look suspiciously familiar. But no matter the source, this collection of stuffed animals would become famous thanks to a group of friends who began telling stories about it around a campfire in 1980. Their story was picked up by Reader's Digest and became a popular urban legend about a place called The Name. According to the story, the taxidermied animals in the gift shop come to life at night. The story goes that if you visit the motel and stay in room 217, you will hear screams in the middle of the night. If you investigate, you will see the source of the screams: a monkey dressed in a tuxedo holding a knife and covered in blood. Then you should run away fast, because whatever you do, don't make eye contact with it. Otherwise, it will chase you down and kill you. You might think it's a silly story, but according to some sources, the taxidermied monkey has gone missing several times, only to be found later hanging from trees around the area. So remember, if you ever find yourself in room 217 at The Name, don't make eye contact with the monkey. But wait, there's more. There are other guests at The Name too. A little girl named Mary, who died in the bathtub, a couple who died in a car accident, and even the former owner who haunts the place looking for his missing cat. And while the story of the murderous monkey is most likely just a story to attract more customers, that doesn't mean that The Name isn't haunted. After all, paranormal investigators have visited the motel to conduct experiments. They say that ghosts definitely live here. According to paranormal investigators, the energy in the motel is extremely heavy. Most people feel uneasy and sense the presence of spirits everywhere. This is especially true in room 217, which they consider to be the most active room. Some investigators have even captured images of ghosts on their equipment. One of the most convincing pieces of evidence comes from a police officer who investigated the case of a missing person. When he walked into room 217, the temperature suddenly dropped, and his flashlight turned off. Then he saw the ghost of a man standing in the corner of the room. He tried to approach the ghost to ask him questions, but the spirit quickly vanished. There are other rooms with a lot of activity too. One of the most famous is room 124, which is said to be haunted by the ghost of Helen Acton Smith, the former owner of the motel. She died in the room in 1983, And now she uses her wheelchair to move throughout the motel, interacting with guests and even shaking beds to wake them up. Guests have reported seeing her ghost, moving objects, shaking beds, and even interacting with them. She's also been seen on video cameras too, like in this footage from a security camera. But she's not the only guest to appear on camera. Other guests have also been caught on tape. Take this video, for example, which was taken by a guest in the parking lot. In it, you can see a little girl walking across the parking lot. You might think nothing of it except for two things. First, the date the video was taken, December 1989. And second, the fact that the girl vanished several hours later when police searched for her. Another piece of video evidence comes from a local TV station which interviewed people who claim to see ghosts at the name. One woman in particular claims that she sees the ghost of a young girl all the time. However, when she tried to capture the ghost on video, she saw something unexpected, a little boy. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel kind of creeped out just thinking about all these ghosts. But hey, if you're into that sort of thing, then the name is the place for you. In fact, many people say that if you visit the motel and talk to the ghosts, they might just tell you what happened to the missing persons who never checked out. But if you want to do that, you'll have to visit the motel soon because it's closing down. At least that's what the signs say. But it seems that the name isn't going anywhere. Even though the owners have tried to sell it several times, they were never able to find a buyer. Maybe it's for the best because the name has become an iconic part of Route 66. Just ask any fan of the show Supernatural. They'll tell you all about it. Of course, if you want to visit the name and try to talk to one of the ghosts yourself, you should probably hurry. Who knows when they'll finally decide to close their doors forever. So do you believe in ghosts? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about haunted places, stay tuned for more information. But for now, I've got one more story for you. It's about a house that's rent is lower than you would expect. Click above to see what could be the reason why. Or click this other video instead.